Best of luck to Vince. Oh, that's right. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, did everybody get a chance to grab some breakfast? Those who like a little breakfast, I'm headed that way in a minute. So we're lucky to have these folks here today. We've got Kim and Gary Horn with the MSHS Band Boosters, and you guys want to speak about that a little bit here? Okay, good, perfect. I was hoping so. And then how long would you guys like to play? We'd like you to play for time. It's all not too much more. Okay. So I think what we'll do today is we're gonna let's go ahead and let you guys continue on, and then we can finish up our breakfast and stuff. And then if you need to get back to school, then you can go ahead and do that after you go get like half time. And then we'll continue our negotiations about. So let's go ahead and do that. That gives us a little time to be social at our tables all right. And then when you guys are ready to stop, just raise your hand. Or stop. much for that. Can we can you introduce them before they? Oh, well, let's let them introduce themselves, please.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Garrett Bass.
Thank you guys all for coming out here and doing this. What time did class start? Or did it already start? Okay.
Can you give him a Rotary pass?
Yeah, well, if John Belcher would start
Oh,
coming
yeah.
to these.
Yeah, we got you. We got your back, Mr. Belcher.
We got your back, yeah. If they ask at the office, just tell them where you were. But thanks. for
Thanks,
coming.
guys.
We really appreciate it. Yeah, no problem. So we're gonna go ahead and let Kim and Gary Horn come up and talk about the booster club, the booster system down at Mount Si, and just tell us a little bit about it and a little bit about the program, and then whenever you feel done, and we've got a few other things we'll go through too afterwards. Yeah.
Thanks for having us today. I'm Kim. This is my husband Gary Horn. I don't know which one of us joined the boosters first, but somehow we both ended up being probably with the board this year. We have two sons, Ryan and Ethan, and both of them have been in music since they were in elementary school, and both have been all the way through the band program. Our younger one is a sophomore this year, and our older one graduated last year, and so we feel like it was time to really give back to this program because it's done so much for our family and our kids, and we just love the music. So the Band Boosters is a group of all volunteers, mostly parents, some other grandparents and things like that, but we always say if you have a student in band, then you're automatically a booster because somehow you're supporting. We have 8 ensembles at the high school that we support. There are 2 jazz bands, wind ensemble, symphonic band, concert band, orchestra, pep band here at football, basketball games. There's also a percussion ensemble, which is a really fun concert if you ever get a chance to come to that concert at the end of the year. Last year, one of the features that they did was the kids weren't playing instruments, they were playing ladders, wooden ladders and metal ladders, and they were just hitting them all differently and climbing up and down and hitting behind them and everything, and it was really fun to see all the different things that the percussion group can do. So our vision and our mission as a booster group is to support the directors, and we're lucky to have 2 directors, Hannah Morey and Mr. Bill Leather, and they're just wonderful, and they eat, sleep music. They have lots of ideas and lots of visions, and so we are trying to just support those things. Right now, we have 3 bass players in the school. We have 2 basses, and so it's an issue. Everybody doesn't have the instrument that they need, and so that's one of the most pressing needs that we think we need to fund soon is a new bass, an upright bass. And then, so we help with instruments, but mostly what we do is fund special things for them. Fees for clinicians is the thing that we're focusing on this year. And a clinician is like a teacher that comes in, and maybe they're a professional tuba player. They come in and work with the horns, but they also give a lot of information and advice about just playing in the band as a whole. And so we've really been focusing on that a lot this year. Kids are really loving it, and they come and stay all day. And then often the guest clinician will perform with them different events. So that's mostly what we're raising money for this year, and then also just supporting the general fund. This is Gary.
Hey everyone. So yeah, Kim and I, as she mentioned, we have a couple of kids that have gone through the program. One's completed it, another one's in the middle of it. So I thought it'd be fun just to tell you our story, right, as parents. For some of you, I know you've got some students have gone through the program as well. For those of you who haven't, you're missing out. This is an amazing program that we've got going on right here in the Valley. It still kind of blows me away that we've got this kind of presence, this kind of culture. It's not the norm, you know. This jazz presence is known around the country. It is inspirational, you know. It's going on here, you know, at Mount Si for years and years and years. Many of you probably know Danny Culpy, right? He's been sort of a staying presence. We've had some directors come and go, but every director, you know, iteration, it just seems to get better and better and better. So they're very passionate about what they do. It is impacting all of the kids that are going through the program. There are about 200 kids, you know, stratified amongst these 8 ensembles. And it just makes them better people, you know. It just makes them better students. It makes them better friends. It makes them better leaders. And it's a small example, but it's still timely. We were struggling. We didn't have any music stands for them to play on this morning. And I went to ask for help and maybe try to figure this out. And by the time, you know, the server had come back, they had figured it out. Like, they just, you know, made do. They found some chairs and they were just going to make it happen. You know, it's those types of skills, life skills, that get picked up. I was in band when I was in high school. I went the sports route myself, but I am blown away about the parallels between band and between every team sport there is, really. You know, they get together, they practice, they perform. It's a version of their games, right? They go out and perform quite a bit. They compete. One thing Kim hadn't mentioned that we're super proud of the kids for is they compete, have competed for the past 7 or 8 years, before we even started, right? At this essentially Ellington competition. It's held in New York every year. Who's the curator? It's Jazz Hall of Famous. Who's the curator? Wynton Marsalis, right? That name probably rings a bell for all of you. It's a huge deal because it's by invite only. And they only invite 16 high schools from across the nation. It is a very prestigious thing, and Mount Si is a perennial competitor. So it's pretty awesome, right? It's pretty amazing that we've got these kids and these directors that work. They work hard, you know. You know, at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's ho hum for them. And they do it because they love it. You know, they like the bonds that they're building. They love the memories that they're building. And so I like being part of it. And so my role with the Band Boosters is fundraising. It's the way I like to give back. I looked through the list here as we were coming in, and I think a lot of you I've already spoken with. I'm sure I've spoken with from last summer through probably October. I was reaching out to local businesses, people who want to support the Band Boosters, all the 8 bands. We are the fundraising arm for those bands. We set up a business sponsor program for the first time. I was sort of surprised that we didn't have something like this before, but there's really more of a limitation of the volunteers and so forth, right? But this year, it's the first year we're doing it. It's been really, really successful. We give back basically with, you know, advertising through the web, through window clings, through pre-concert banner advertising, sort of what you see at the North End Theater, right? You got a slideshow going. So it gives you more of a presence amongst the families and the kids, you know, who are performing at the concerts. If you're interested, just let me know. You can either reach out through, you know, the Rotary or our website is mountsidbands.org, plural, mountsidbands.org. You can reach out to me there as well. But definitely appreciate the time. This is an unusual presentation for me, really, because it's probably more of a thank you than it is a request for support, honestly. Most of you have probably already donated. Definitely appreciate it. The band needs all the support they can get. This is a curricular program. Kids get grades. There is very little support from the school district relative to other programs, so it's super important we get the businesses involved as well.
Did you say MountSideBands.org?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, MountSideBands.org. Yeah.
go to that site,
Yep.
will we be able to see when you have concerts and programs that we can go to?
Yes, but there's a link basically. So we use another service called Charms. The schools district has standardized on this third party. Yeah, you probably should speak to this.
The high school website has a calendar on their front page, just, and it always tells what the schedule is coming up. But we have concerts throughout the year, usually in the fall, and then again in the spring, and then at the end of the year. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that's the easiest way, but I do want to mention there's a link through Charms. You know, Kim and I both said that a lot of parents do this if they've got kids in the program that will feed. It'll create an event feed directly to your phone or your computer. You know, if you want to see all the bands, you've probably done this before with other calendar systems, but if you want all the calendars to just appear on your phone, we have instructions on our website on how to do that.
Is it difficult to access?
There are a few steps. We've made it about as easy as we could, but you know, technology, yeah, there are a handful of steps to do that. Or you just click the link, it'll bring up the calendar as well.
I'm curious about the new high school and what upgrades are for the music department. Can you speak to that at all? Or?
It's a great question, yeah.
We're so curious too, because we're the wing of the high school that hasn't been touched yet.
Okay.
So the rest of the high school is opened up already, and if you drive by the front on Meadowbrook, you can see this little kind of a tunnel. It looks like shipping containers, kind of, and that leads to the old part of the building where we still are, and the auditorium where we still are. The new Performing Arts Center will be back behind the new gym, and they've designed it really well so that you will be able to close it off, and other people will be able to rent it out and use it, and it won't open up to the rest of the school and things like that. But they're going to have practice rooms. I've heard talk of a keyboard, what do you call it, a keyboard clinic or a keyboard, where it's just a keyboard class, where I'm thinking they should do a
Adults.
evening keyboard class or something, I don't know, anyway. But they're really excited. It's a 700-seat theater, and then all of the classrooms around it, and they'll have room to have, like, the jazz band comes in right now and sets up in the band room every morning, the two different jazz bands, and then they have to break everything down so that there's room for the rest of the bands. But there'll be enough room so that they can leave things up, and they'll have storage lockers that aren't in the band room, different things that are important to band kids, so they're not interrupting things. We actually have requested a meeting as boosters and some interested parents and anyone really, with the architect and the business manager at the district office and some other people, the principal and things like that for January, so that we can find out how we can best support what the district is already doing. We don't kind of cross paths, but we're envisioning, maybe not, I guess one of the theaters in Kent or something is IKEA theater, so we don't want to go that far. But we're trying to figure out how we can get some support and have kind of one chance to have a great grand opening. And so we're expecting it to open this time next year. So for the first half of the year, we'll still be in our old space until that one's finished. But yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just saw that you guys have an eBay auction, which is a great idea.
Yeah.
And some good stuff on there. Does eBay take their fees from that?
They do not.
Nice.
Yeah, I was sort of surprised by that because, again, we're short-staffed, right, with the
Yeah.
volunteering. So the eBay platform allows us to have this sort of ongoing auction. And so a lot of Valley businesses who have donated items or services, with their approval, will list them on the eBay auction. And then as we have concerts or just word of mouth, parents or Valley residents will just go there and purchase through eBay, but there's no fee for that.
And you get 100%?
Yeah, it comes through, and they're all linked.
I think I'll get a tattoo just for your.
Yeah, there's some very. But there's wine tastings. The Salish Lodge donated.
Oh yeah, it looks. That's a great idea.
Yeah, well, that sold just like last week. So I think during the year we'll replenish that as we get donations, items or services donated. But yeah, that's just another real, creative way that we can still raise some money for the band boosters.
I just want to say, Kim's mom is a good friend of mine, and I've heard a lot about your sons.
Oh.
And I even went to a concert to hear your sons play. You should talk a little bit about them. They're very accomplished. They have their own band. This concert I went to was over at Mount Si during one of the festivals, I think.
Oh, okay.
They were in the community room there, and the lights and everything. You'd think you were at some professional big name. It was really cool. It was a little loud. I couldn't stay all the time. But Leona, Grandma Leona, she stayed the whole time.
She stayed the whole time.
Now, does she continue with music at college? Or?
Right. Ryan, so our older son, they had a rock band for a while too, and so it's kind of fun how these kids meet each other and then do other, not just jazz and all of them. They had a rock band and they ended up writing a lot of their own music. They produced their dad and Jared. They produced 3 CDs and wrote a bunch of songs and then they got to play at different festivals around. But for sure, just going back into with the music at school. They're just surrounded by these creative kids. Our younger son, Ethan, wanted to play drums when he was, in like 2nd grade, but he was really shy and very close to us and not what really wanted. So the drums for him was a place to be on the stage with what he wanted to do, but still be kind of back behind. He's not shy anymore, but it really drew him out. His being able to be in a group and on a team like that. One of the things that Gary was mentioning about how these kids practice. So Ethan is in the jazz band this year, and he doesn't even listen to that kind of crazy loud music. You'd be happy to come over now.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah, because he's listening. Mom, did you know that they found these old, jazz records from the 1940s? They were in this vault, and he's walking around the house listening to jazz music, but he loves it and speaks to him. And there are these kids that will come over, and it's like KMKX is upstairs in my house, and they're writing their own music and they're recording things. And one of his good friends moved to Utah and played the piano. He's recording his stuff and sending it to Ethan, and Ethan's drumming over it, and they're combining it. And so it just evolves and evolves, and it's just interesting to see how their brains work and how they want to collaborate outside of school, and it's just been wonderful for our family for a lot of different
Is your
reasons.
oldest son still involved?
Oh, so Ryan is at UW. He's bioengineering, all science, all the time, and he has his guitars at school, but he is not in an official band at school right now. He's got some buddies that yeah. Thanks for asking.
So thanks for the time. We definitely appreciate it. And the kids, this is what they live for, right? They want to play. And so these opportunities are nice to have. If you need to reach us for any reason, you can go to the website or just come through, the Rotary. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for coming in and sharing that with us. Do you know about our grant process?
Yes, they do.
Okay, all right, perfect. That's good. Because that's coming right up, right?
Yes.
Hey, but I want to add to that though a little bit on the current program over there at the high school, based on what I know and what I've experienced. Because my son went through the program and started in jazz in middle school. That was back when Wendman was around and all those guys. And it was really fun to go to these middle school competitions. They were good. They were really good, and they were, they fed into the high school right about the time the high school was really starting to come onto the scene. Because, the jazz bands in the Puget Sound area are amazing. And I don't know if you guys knew that, but this competition in New York is by invitation only, and there were consistently teams from the Puget Sound that were placing like first and second, and for a number of years, the Roosevelts and Garfield, and then one of the schools on the peninsula came into play, and so, and then you listen to the jazz station and you hear these bands, they're getting airtime. So it's really been an impressive push in the Puget Sound area, and the Puget Sound area is huge for music in general, not just jazz, but a lot of these kids, they come out of school and next thing you know, they formed a, they're 18, 19 years old and they're playing on stages, in venues that, can't serve alcohol that night, or, some things like that, all ages shows. And so music is just such a huge thing in this Puget Sound area. It's like Austin, Texas, or, Portland's the same way. It's a big, big deal. So it does not surprise me that, there are so many great jazz bands coming out of this area. And then I remember just seeing all of a sudden, oh, Mount Si got invited to that thing. And then, oh, Mount Si got invited to that thing again. So, we don't know a whole lot about the new Performing Arts Center that's kind of the final phase of the high school development. But my guess, architecturally speaking, my guess is that that's going to be the showpiece of that entire school. And if you've been in that school yet, you'd think the whole thing's a showpiece. But I think this Performing Arts Center, because that's the link to the community. That's where things are really going to change around this valley. Not only with what they can do on their own stage, but I'm sure they're going to start having their own competitions. And now they've got the venue to do some of those things. So it's going to be a big deal. It's pretty cool. So.
The New York venue, that's Carnegie Hall, isn't it? Where you go?
Jazz Lincoln Center.
Or Jazz Lincoln Center, I knew it was one of the big ones,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's great to see Mount Si at that high level, up there with the schools that used to do, Garfield, Roosevelt. Now it's Mount Si, so cool.
All right, thanks again.
Thank
for
you
your time.
very much.
Appreciate it.
Let's, because we need to do